welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom, and this is going to be my physical media update for June 2023. Not a huge pile, but enough to do a update, I would say. So let's get cracking. Just one DVD this month, Bats Human Harvest. If we saw my last update, you know, I picked up a couple of kind of bat-related DVDs. I thought I'd at some point have a kind of a bit of a bat, not vampire, kind of horror movie binge. I've yet to actually watch them, but this is another one to add to the pile. So yeah, Bats Human Harvest, not one I've actually seen, I have to say. And there's still another one called The Roost, which I've yet to pick up, which I might get as well, and then expect a kind of a bat-themed, you know, kind of horror marathon ultimately. So yeah, Bat Human Harvest UK DVD. And then I picked up The Relic, which stars the late Tom Sizemore, and I would say his probably most prominent role outside of maybe Saving Private Ryan. But here he was kind of the male lead. In Saving Private Ryan, he was, you know, a supporting character. So yeah, The Relic, actually a pretty good kind of creature feature, also starring Penelope Ann Miller, and this is the UK Blu-ray. So quite enjoyed it. I think I saw this at the cinema actually. Next up we have Blood Vessel, and this is a Australian release from Umbrella Films, and actually stars Alyssa Sutherland, who you may know from Evil Dead Rise. That's the kind of the main kind of demonic possessed woman. And Blood Ties is a kind of a vampire movie. I think it was on Shudder initially, and it's kind of a World War II era vampire film that I actually quite enjoyed. So yeah, it's got quite a kind of a monstrous vampire, and this is an Australian release, but that does mean it's region B, which means it will work fine on UK players. I'm not sure what I think about the artwork, if I'm honest. I probably would have preferred the poster, but you know, it's a little bit different, I suppose. Next up we have Day of the Dead 2, which is also known as Day of the Dead Contagion. And I actually have this on DVD, and I don't think I ever got round to watching it. I can't remember anyway, I may have done. Anyway, I kind of saw the Blu-ray edition on eBay for relatively kind of cheap, literally a couple of pounds. I thought, you know, I'll pick it up. It's, you know, I know it's not meant to be particularly kind of a strong film, but yeah, I thought I would pick it up and kind of one day watch it and obviously bang out a review, I expect. So that is the Day of the Dead 2, which was a there was actually a remake of Day of the Dead, which was pretty different, to be honest. And this is the sequel, apparently. So next up, we have the Black Shield of Falworth. Now this is an old movie starring Tony Curtis, and I used to be quite a big fan of the old kind of medieval, you know, Camelot kind of style movies. Robin Hood, things like this, and I can't remember if I've seen this or not, if I'm completely honest with you, but I'm a big sucker for kind of like medieval kind of knight in armour style kind of films. So again, I've sort of found this on eBay, and I thought, well, you know what, I'll pick it up and give it a watch. I do enjoy kind of, you know, medieval fantasy kind of, or historical kind of fiction, things like that, so I'll give it a whirl. Speaking of fantasy, I actually picked up this German release of Dragonheart. And yeah, so this is a modern kind of sword and sorcery movie, and it's had a number of sequels, but this was the original one, which had, you know, a bit more star power with it. It had Dennis Quaid, David Thewlis, and Sean Connery as the voice of the dragon. But interestingly, as this is a German release, they've actually got some other dude as the voice of Drago. So yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming this does have English audio, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, it's a nice edition. You got the slipcase and that. So yeah, modern fantasy films I'm kind of a little bit ambivalent on. This one wasn't too bad, you know, but it does feel very much like a modern. You know, a modern sort of fantasy style movie, a little bit toothless. But this also has Brian Thompson. It's one of the bad guys, and I'm actually quite fan of kind of Brian Thompson, because he was in kind of like, you know, The X-Files, he was in Fright Night Part 2, Cobra, etc. We also got The Dead Pit, and this is a movie, again, I owned on VHS, and I think Dark Force put this out. This is the kind of the second release. The original one had a kind of a glow-in-the-dark kind of slipcase, Code Red, sorry. So yeah, this is a kind of a later kind of re-release, but it still has, you know, the slipcase and all that. Quite a fun movie from what I remember from the VHS days. I was really into zombies back in the kind of the VHS days, and I had loads of zombies on VHS. And you know, these days I'm a kind of a bit. I still enjoy them, but you know, they are a little samey, admittedly. But I do remember quite liking The Dead Pit. So yeah, I thought I'd pick it up. And another movie I had on VHS, and this is the Vinegar Syndrome release of Invisible Maniac. And I didn't get this when it was first released, but I found it for relatively kind of cheap on eBay. And I thought I would kind of pick it up. Obviously, it's got somewhat of a provocative kind of cover there, but I don't know if the film was really all that much. I don't remember. I have seen it, but it was kind of like a sort of horror kind of comedy, sort of sex comedy in a way. So yeah, so The Invisible Maniac, but I like the artwork at the very least, for obvious reasons. Next up we have Iron Man 3 on the Mondo Steelbooks. Now I've held off from buying a lot of the kind of the Marvel movies on Steelbook, to be honest with you. I've kind of, after the kind of the recent sort of stack of kind of Marvel films, I've kind of fallen out of love with it a little bit. So I'm not kind of buying every Marvel release when they kind of get out now. What I'm going to do is wait until they are reduced, and that's what I'm doing. But this one I found on eBay for £20. It's still sealed, so I thought rather than kind of waiting for it on kind of Zavvi, I may as well kind of pick that up. And if I see any others between now and when Zavvi inevitably kind of reduce them, I'll probably pick this one up. So yes, this is the this wave of the Mondo. This is the only one that I've got so far. Iron Man 3, not a lot of people's favourite Iron Man film, I have to say. I mean, personally, I like the first movie, but it's got a really cool art. I do like the artwork of this one, to be honest with you. And you know, I do intend to get all of the Mondo ones. I'm just not paying like 30 quid a piece for them. Next up, we have Red Sonja. This is one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that I didn't get on launch. Well, talking about the Steelbook here. Purely because, you know, just I was cutting back at the time, couldn't afford it. But I got this from a Facebook group for £15, including postage. Still sealed, although I suspect it might have been resealed by the looks of this kind of wrapping here. But nevertheless, it's good nick and everything. And yeah, so that's... I have actually got a Korean version of Red Sonja. It's not a Steelbook, it's just a kind of an Amare one. So obviously this is kind of the Steelbook edition of that, and then I have quite a good, you know, selection of Schwarzenegger films on Steelbook, so I wanted to kind of continue really. And then my final bit is a MediaBook, and this is Near Dark, which was a very well-regarded vampire film. And when you think of 80s vampire films, you generally think of like The Lost Boys or Fright Night. This one you don't think about so much, but you know, it's worth talking about in the conversation. Very much more a gritty, darker kind of vampire story, and actually has a number of the cast who were in the movie Aliens. You've got Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton and Jeanette Goldstein, all of whom were in the Aliens movie. So it's kind of a reunion from that. And this is a nice kind of media book. And I do kind of enjoy, even though I can't read sort of the text and stuff, I do quite enjoy some of the kind of the media books. And I might do a collection sort of overview at one, but I did one a while ago. But I haven't got tons, so it wouldn't, you know, it's enough for kind of a video. But yeah, you get various kind of photographs. Obviously, the text is in German, which I can't read, but nonetheless, it's a nice edition. It's a decent movie with a great scene involving where the vampires enter a bar. If you have seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then go check it out. So that is the collection updates for June. What did you think? Please do leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.